What is crossover voting in an open primary? Imagine walking into an election and choosing which party's primary to vote in, even if you're not officially part of that party. That's what crossover voting is all about. In an open primary system, voters are not restricted by their party registration. They can pick any one party's primary to vote in on election day. This means if you are registered as a Democrat, you can still choose to vote in the Republican primary if you want. You only get to vote in one party's primary during each election cycle, though. Voting in more than one primary can be seen as election fraud or could invalidate your ballot in some states. Open primaries give voters more freedom. They can decide which party's candidates they want to support without having to change their registration beforehand. Crossover voting often happens for different reasons. Some voters genuinely prefer a candidate from the other party and want to support them. Others might vote strategically, choosing a weaker candidate from the opposing party to help their preferred candidate in the general election. This is sometimes called rating, because it can influence which candidate wins the other party's primary. People also use crossover voting to try to sway the outcome of the opposing party's nomination. For example, if a voter thinks a certain candidate is easier to beat in the general election, they might vote in that party's primary to help that candidate win. But remember, voters can only participate in one party's primary per election cycle. Voting in multiple primaries is not allowed and can lead to penalties or invalid ballots. So, crossover voting in an open primary is when voters choose to vote in a different party's primary than their usual registration. It's made possible because open primaries don't restrict voting based on party affiliation. This practice can influence who gets nominated and can even impact the outcome of the general election. It gives voters more options and can make the primary process more dynamic and unpredictable.